After COVID hit, the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world printed unprecedented amounts of money. The Federal Reserve printed 65% more money supply than the prior year, the biggest increase we've ever seen historically. Then the global governments went on spending binges. So part of the inflation you're seeing is definitely monetary, but not all of it. A lot of it is due to intentional policies by the US and the EU in terms of energy policy, cutting off oil production and natural gas production, which raises the prices of almost everything. So it's a twofold hit. It's a supply shock in energy plus monetary inflation. It's just like the 70s all over again. That's number one. Are we in a recession? We had a technical recession in Q1 and Q2 of this year. It wasn't very deep. Then they manufactured a reacceleration in the economy through accounting gimmicks. I mean, most of what we saw in the GDP number, I think it was 1.7% increase or two something. That was mostly due to investment from abroad due to a strong dollar, which is not consumption, which is most of our economy. The consumption part of our economy, which is 80% of our GDP, has fallen off a cliff. We here at Finance Technologies are looking at -3 to -4% GDP in Q1 and Q2. We think that's baked into the cake. There's no way around it. So that's coming. And then why are you not seeing anybody working? We believe, now what you're going to hear is there's something called the Great Resignation. I'm sure you've heard that one. There's this theme of millennials and people after the pandemic don't want to go back to work because they're scared, or they're taking on new philosophies on life. What it really is, and it's not the whole reason, but I think about 60 to 70% of the help wanted signs are people being disabled. I mean, I just told you 1.7 million Americans have been disabled since of the employed population. These are people willing and able who are now removed mysteriously from the labor force. That's about half of the 3 million people that were added to the disability rolls. So, this is a disaster. And so we have people being disabled. Now we're getting layoffs. So, hopefully the layoffs will free up some labor for some people to do some jobs. But, if you're a Facebook engineer and you get laid off, you're probably not going to want to go become a waiter at a restaurant or something like that. That's just typically how it doesn't work.
So the question,
there we go.
Real fast, the disabilities, if is that related to COVID infection? Is that being undeclared? Like, do we have data on that?
No. So it's just look, I'm an investor. I don't need someone to tell me what's going on. We showed in one of our analyses the COVID vaccination rollout and cumulative doses. The correlation we came up with is 0.90. Now, correlation, they'll tell you, is not causation, but in the absence of any other explanatory factor, it certainly looks like there's a link, and we're investing that way. So you can see, I just put this out on Twitter, you can see the graph where basically 0.90 is a very high correlation. Now, again, is that proof? No. Do I have the diagnoses of all these people who have been disabled? No, I don't care. All I know is one thing that's happened that changed in 2021 and 2022 is vaccination. And the fact that it seems to be affecting the employed more so than the general population would indicate something went on with mandates and mass vaccination. And those who were not employed had a choice. So that for me is a smoking gun. And also the insurance data from group life policyholders. The employed of our country have been hit harder than anybody. And I went on to see Ron Johnson a couple of weeks ago. He had a COVID panel. And I told him I think it's a national security issue and it needs to be investigated at the very least. And if I'm wrong, great. But no one's offered an explanation. But there's something mysteriously taking out our employed, most able-bodied amongst us, the military, the first responders. Not those who are unemployed or the very young or the retired who didn't get the vaccines. It seems pretty incredible to me, but that's what's going on.
What was Congress's reception to you speaking to them, or any follow up, any feedback, anything positive that we can have hope for, or where is that headed?
So it was a roundtable held by Senator Johnson. The hope is a lot of the data and evidence presented there will be rolled into, and I hope to be called back to Congress in the new session when there are investigations opened up, if there are. But that's the hope. The hope was to lay the groundwork for what hopefully will be some investigations by Congress. I just learned today, haven't confirmed, that Japan is now investigating what went wrong with the COVID vaccinations and what happened during COVID. So investigations are beginning.
Right. So to kind of get a little more in depth here, I'm still slightly concerned if the correlation does appear that it is the vaccines that are causing this, that it is what might be causing the excess deaths. Of course, experts, right, tell you that's incorrect or that's not right. Do you really predict by any chance that like we are going to be seeing a mass global reduction in population, which is going to be affecting the economy? Or, I mean, there's nowhere too controversial that I really want to hold you back from going. Where is this going to end up, or where do you see this leading based on the trends that we're currently seeing, both demographically and then the effect on the economy and, geopolitics as a whole?
So this is where I hope I'm wrong. Okay. I don't want to be right. But if you look at the trend on disabilities, the trend has not, it was going sideways like this, and then it went like this, like a growth stock. It's still going up and to the right. The trend has not been broken. And if that trend continues, it's going to be bad. And I don't know when it ends. And what my goal is to at least have, the general population, the marginal mind aware of what's going on, turn the politicians, and we end this madness, at least pause the madness. Then we can assess what the damage is. My team and I are working on what's called the vaccine damage report, where we're going to link all sorts of databases to figure out what exactly the extent of the damage is. But it's looking grim, but I hope I'm wrong. Right now, excess mortality globally seems to be around 20%, which is still horrendous. It's horrendous. If that continues and it doesn't go back to normal trend line, we got problems, especially amongst the younger cohorts. So my prognosis is we're definitely going to have a recession the first half of this year. And depending upon how this issue is resolved globally, I see this likely to be a decade of slowing growth. Geopolitically, we have problems too. China hit a demographic wall in 2020. And what I mean by that is their population's on the decline. So whenever demographics roll over like they did in Japan in the late 80s, you have a couple lost decades. And China's biggest fear is its own people. So they're going to have to create a boogeyman to rally the people against rather than having them focus on them. And I suspect geopolitical turmoil, as we have economic slowdowns across the globe, people are going to need excuses to blame everybody but themselves.
I'm really enjoying this interview, and everybody knows I love a good cigar, okay? A good smoke relaxes me, and I have a good time. Sometimes the world just puts you on edge, and you're looking for a way to relax. But the options are kind of gross, right? You have cigarettes, vapes, which are lame, and then you have cigars, and good ones are really expensive. The problem with all these products is they smell, they create a mess, and quite frankly, vapes, cigarettes, almost all of them, and cheap cigars have all kinds of disgusting ingredients and additives I'm personally not comfortable using. But there's a better alternative to smoking and to vaping, that's Pixatine. These are nicotine-infused toothpicks. Whether you're looking for an alternative that doesn't make you smell in the way that cigarettes make you smell, or perhaps you're looking to quit smoking or vaping and you're looking for an alternative, this is the solution for you. It is a toothpick with nicotine called Pixatine. The beautiful thing about this tasty nicotine toothpick is it can be used anywhere and anytime. Go ahead and take back control of doing what you want to do when you want to do it without bothering the people around you. Pixatine can be used in bars, restaurants, planes, sport events, movie theaters, shopping centers, and anywhere else you want. Pixatine is here to do two things: taste great and give you back your freedom. I enjoy really the cinnamon flavor and, of course, the winter flavor. The mint is so good. The regular and original is amazing too, but I'm more of a flavor kind of guy. Depends what you like. But this gives you the freedom to use whenever and wherever. And are you looking to make a change for the new year and to do something better for your life and stop bothering the people around you with all of these crazy smells and plume clouds of smoke? You might want to give Pixatine a try. Bring in the new year right. Take back your freedom. Try Pixatine now. For a limited time, we get 20% off promo. Go to Pixatine.com/Elijah. That's Pixotine.com/ELIJAH. That's Pixatine.com/Elijah. What are you waiting for? Save 20% and try some Pixatine today. That's Pixatine, Pixotine.com/Elijah. Check it out. Don't forget, they're also the winner of CSP's 2019 Retailer's Choice Best New Product in the Tobacco Product OTP category. Let's get back to the interview.